Hi, JB.
Hey,
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. And
Good.
you?
I'm doing well.
I'm good.
Cold in here.
Yeah, but it is what it is. I lived through it.
I know. And for everybody that's watching, I'm wearing my scarf because it is the heater is this is the one room that it's not working in, they said today. So it's what, 17 degrees outside?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. It's supposed to warm up to like 20 something.
Oh, warm up.
Yeah.
And last week it was 80 or whatever.
Well, yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. And I was like, really?
I'm really glad that you're here.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad I can do this.
Yes. And you said this is the first time you've ever recorded.
It is my first time ever. Yeah.
I think a lot of people have that when they come on here. They're like, I don't even know what a podcast is, but sure, I'll do it.
I mean, I've seen some, but I just, like, oh, okay. They just talk and that's about it.
Yeah. Well, what sparked me to ask you to come on is, I mean, we're friends on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We're both a part of the SGPHS alumni group.
Yeah.
But you post all kinds of stuff sometimes, and I'm like, you know what? I know JB. I don't know a lot about JB, but a lot of people know you.
Yeah.
So I wanted just to talk to you. And you're all over the place. Like you post pictures of yourself with people all the time. You're just a fascinating guy.
Yeah, I'm always there at times, yeah. And sometimes I'm just there at the right time, the right place. I'm like, oh, okay.
So did you grow up in Grand Prairie for people that don't know who you are?
Yeah, I grew up here and lived here and still one of the nicest good cities right here in Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What elementary school did you go to?
Well, my kindergarten year, I went to Zavala, and then 1st to 5th grade, I went to Evangel Temple, a little private school. And then
I didn't know you went to Evangel Temple.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah. And then middle school, I went to Truman, one of the best middle schools.
Yes, you do that on Facebook all the time.
Yeah, just to get just the little jab.
Yeah, especially for us Jackson Eagles.
Yeah. Because people know Jackson and Truman, that was like a rivalry, for middle schools back then. Yeah, and went to one of the greatest high schools in the Metroplex, South Grand Prairie High School.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we graduated in the same year.
Well, you were 98. I was class 99.
Oh, I thought you were 98 with me.
No, but I knew a lot of people in 98.
Yes, you did. Yeah. Yes, you did.
Yeah,
and you still do.
Yeah,
you came to our reunion, which we were so happy to have you.
Oh yeah.
That was a fun reunion.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah,
it was.
I didn't get. I went to your. I think I went to our 20th reunion, and then I went to the 25th one, but I got there a little bit late. But we were still have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I just showed up, and everybody just like, it was like, yeah, the guest star appearance.
So, what kind of stuff did you do in high school? Like, what were you involved in?
In high school, I was involved with the football team, track, and I think that was pretty much about it. I didn't do student council or anything because I was just so busy with sports, because sports does take up a lot of your time, and I was always there. And in football, it was just I was just so new to that world, and I'm like, wow. And some of the older classmen, like from 97 and 96, they just kind of took me under their wing as the little brother, and they always looked out for me, and then made sure nobody messed with me because I was just good and quiet. And my freshman and sophomore year, I was like the shy, nerdy guy. But then I think my junior year, I just pretty much got out there just a little bit more, and they were like, and that's when I got introduced at one of the Beat North pep rally, or sorry Gophers, it's it's some people don't know we're South Grand Prairie, and then you're on the other side of the tracks, you're on the north side, so we just call you guys North, but they always get agitated. So like, yeah.
Grand Prairie High School.
Yeah.
But it's Beat North.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is.
Oh, yeah. I still call it that from time to time, but they beat us, and I'm like, I had to say your real name, just say Grand Prairie High. Yeah. So it's all good fun. It's just sports and rivalry, and we all have a good time, and I made some friends afterwards who graduated from Grand Prairie High, and we still keep in touch, and we still go, we still talk the talk, and like, yeah, okay.
So do you think that's weird? Because for those that don't know, do you still run on the field with the flag?
No, they kind of did away with that. They kind of, went in a different direction. Like, oh, okay, well.
But you did that for a lot of years.
Yeah.
So if you don't recognize his face, you could recognize his run, because you did that for so long. But do you think that's where did that passion for football come from? Specifically South Grand Prairie football.
Well, my freshman year, I was asked, by he's kind of like my football father, Coach Mendoza, Ron Mendoza, who's now at Colleyville Heritage. We were just in the training room, and I was always hanging out with some of the football players, and he said, why don't you help us out? Okay, so you're always here, and okay, and I asked the head coach at the time, Coach David Thompson, and he said, you got the job. Oh, okay. And didn't know what it all pertained because I was the manager. And
this is while you were in school?
Yeah, this is when I was in school. My freshman year in the spring ball, and I was just learning. And okay, and I didn't know anything about football like it is now. But I did watch. I'm a big Dallas Cowboys fan, so yeah, I watched that, but I didn't really know about. This is where it begins. For all student athletes. This is where it begins, and then you go on from there. I'm like, okay, and I'm learning. In a way, it's kind of like that movie, The Devil Wears Prada, where they're all she's learning everything, and I'm learning everything, and like just nod, and then and do your job and know your role. And I got asked by Coach Thompson, beginning of my sophomore year. He asked me, can you do us a favor? I'm like, okay. He goes, I was just there, and what can I do to help you out, and and go on from there. He asked me, could you run our flag? I'm like, oh, okay. And I didn't know that was, part of it, but, it was like, it's something extra.
So he asked you to do that from the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
My sophomore year. Like, okay, well, and I didn't know what I was going to be doing, but then when we played, it was Arlington Martin, that was the first game, and we played at Cravens Field. So, they just told me, just run, after each touchdown, just run, and like, okay. And I was like, okay. And no one knew how fast I was, but I was just skinny little, scrawny little kid back then. So ran through the banner, and they were like, "Wow, he's fast." And some people thought I was like a senior, but no, I was a sophomore. So they got 2 more years of me. So that was great. Yeah. And my sophomore year, we didn't have much of a good year. We went 2-8 that year. So I'm like, okay, but then. Your senior year, we flipped the script. We flipped the script to 8-2. For a regular season, we made the playoffs.
That was a great season.
Yes, it was a great season. I remember the catch that we all talked about by Brandon Wetzel.
Yes,
who just caught it at the right time and place and just annihilated Lamar.
That I remember that like it was yesterday, which is so crazy because I just all the things I've seen. Like we went nuts in that in the stands. What do they call that? The catch in the.
It was the Miracle on Mockingbird Lane.
The Miracle on Mockingbird Lane.
Yeah, and that's something I just I never thought that would ever happen, and because from my view, I thought I saw some guy just running in the end zone. I'm like, well, why are you doing that? Because it looked like they all swatted it, and I'm like, and this kid just running in the end zone, just like really.
We were losing at that point.
Yes, we were.
I mean, it was literally at the end of the game.
Yes.
And Shannon threw the pass because he was quarterback that year.
Oh, yeah.
And then it bounced off of.
Well, it tipped off one kid and then another kid. And then Brandon just stretched out and just caught it. And then, he was running and he dodged the defender and then he just straight
dove
in. And I'm just like, I thought, like, well, why is this kid doing that? And then I'm thinking, the worst thing ever, our guys get on the field. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to kill that kid. But then I look at the score and I'm like,
wait, what?
That was our kid. I'm like, oh wow, and I tried to run down the field, but it was just we're all just excited and just in tears because everyone in that stadium was in tears because they just couldn't witness that just happened, and that was I think ESPN gave us like the play of the year.
It was crazy, and I remember looking on the other side at those fans on the other side, and they were just like.
Yeah, they could. Yeah,
it was sad to watch.
I still remember my mom. She was telling me they were singing no, hey, and then they just cut silence, and it was just like wow, they just couldn't believe that just happened, and just gave them the kiss of death right there.
Right.
It was just like wow, and then our coaches, tell us, hey, not many people get to this point, get to the third round. So, and we were glad that we got to this point, and we were practicing on Thanksgiving week, and that was just. One of those things that you don't, I'm like, okay, and this is so cool because for me, that was my first year being in a playoff, atmosphere. And it was just like, wow. Because I remember, teachers back then, they were like into the football. And I remember when we played LD Bell your senior year for the first playoff game at Texas Stadium. And I'd never been to Texas Stadium. So that was pretty cool right there.
Texas Stadium. Wow.
Yeah. The old Texas Stadium.
Old Texas Stadium.
That used to be in Irving.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And because we took a tour like on a Wednesday up the facility. And okay, and this is so cool. And I got a picture with the seniors. I took a picture of the seniors of class 98. And then we did everyone else, like, yeah, y'all have, this is y'all's right here. And then everyone else together right here. And I remember the day of the game because we played on a Thursday. It just felt weird. And I'm like, playing on a Thursday. And teachers didn't give out homework that night. And then, Friday, I remember most teachers said no homework because our football team just won. Like, oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm loving this. So, yeah, it was great. Yeah, I love that. And it was just like, wow. And I remember I did take a picture on the star and like of Texas. I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm coming back here or not. So let's do it now. So, so I got that picture. I'm like, yeah, just me, just like, yeah. And like, and it was great. And during the late 90s, for Southern Prairie football, that was pretty much our home for our playoff games. And it was just, wherever chance we got, we played there because we were, that's pretty much our good luck home stadium. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
That's a pretty exciting thing to be a part of.
Oh yeah. As a child, and you're like, wow, and these are good memories. And my senior year, we lost a coin flip with Amarillo, so we flew over to Amarillo.
Oh gosh.
And that was, most of these guys, it was their first time being on an airplane. So, and
wow.
I remember one of the parents told one of our kids, who was like one of the starters, I'm like, watch out for that grim. And I'm like, why would you say that? This child has never been on a plane and you're going to freak him out and he's going, I'm like, why would you say that?
Oh my gosh.
But, we got there and it was like, nothing.
Was it cold up there?
It wasn't too cold.
Okay.
It was just very windy and just dusty out there. And it was just like, wow. And because I remember I was trying to run the flag and that wind was coming against me. Then I remember one of our basketball stars, Marcus Sharpshire, the class 2000, he was telling me, from the sideline, well, not from the stands, like, JB, it looks like you're going slow, so you may want to go with the wind. And then we went with the wind, and like, okay, now you look a lot faster. Yeah, you're a lot faster now. Yeah, I'm like, so, and I would, after each touchdown, I would run against the team. If they're going this way, then I would go this way. Then when they get off the field, then I would, run back.
Right.
And I think someone asked me, what's the most times you ran in a football game? And
that's a good question.
Yeah. When we played, I think it was R.O. Turner, we scored like 63 points. So you have to do the math. So that's like 9 times, 9 times in one game or so, yeah, I think, yeah. It was like, yeah, because I remember we scored on a touchdown pass. And then one of the kids from Arlington, R.O. Turner, he fumbled the ball on the kickoff, and then our guys picked it up and made a touchdown. And I just barely sat down, and then some of the guys just looked at me like, oh, I just barely. It was like, it was a good workout. Let's say that it was a good workout. So I got back up as much as I could, and then run down there, and then run, and then go back again. Yeah. Oh
my gosh, that's funny. So, like, after you graduated, you kept doing it.
Well, the class 2000 was going to be a special class because that was just one of the best athletic classes we have had.
That's true.
In school's history, because the class 2000 for football, they got to the semifinals. Not many people understand in division, because we were class 5A, division 2, where there was more teams to compete. There were 6 rounds, and in division 1, 5A, there was only 5 rounds. So, but we were like one game away from going to state, but the referee, people who know the story, we went overtime with Garland, and the referee, he moved the ball up more than what it should have been because his glasses were a little bit fogged up. He just moved the ball up more than what it should have been, and
that was my sister's year.
Yeah. Those were your sister's years right there. Yeah, and it was just heartbreaking, and
because they did go to the Texas Stadium that year.
Yeah. I think every game except for there was 2 games that we played at the Warrior. I call it the Warrior Bowl because we beat the Gophers, so we get to say the Warrior Bowl for a whole year.
We've beat them a lot.
Yeah.
I think you put out one time how many times we've won in the past.
I think so, yeah. But I know it's like maybe 30 to 12 in that little. I check on that one, but just all most we're just a little bit more competitive over there, and it's a little bit harder over there on the north side, on Grand Prairie side, because most of the kids are a lot different, and they're doing their best, and they're great kids too. I'm not going to take that away from them. They're good kids, and they just do their best. And sometimes UIL puts them in hard positions to get past. And now, I think 2006, 2007 school year, that's when they introduced 4 teams can go to the playoffs instead of 3.
Oh,
yeah, because it was tough. Those if you're those 3 teams, one team might be in trouble, and because they had to do so many things just to get in. But when they added 4, it was a little bit easier. Now because it's, but our district was pretty hard back then. I think your let's see, your junior and senior year, we had Duncanville, the Irving schools, and Arlo Turner schools, and they were just Duncanville. I was like still learning about them, and learning about teams. And Duncanville, they kind of rubbed me the wrong way. They just act like they're they're the number 1 team, and they semi were say that, because I remember your senior year. Nobody remember the story, but I remember it clear as day. We get the trainers and managers. We got there early so we can set up stuff, and we're getting stuff off the bus, and I'm like, okay. And then their cheerleaders came to us, me and Tammy Faderly. We were just we're talking for a little bit, and then their cheerleaders, Duncanville cheerleaders, they came to us and asked us, when your cheerleaders get here, tell them to put their signs on the home side. And we were like, why?
This was at Duncanville's stadium.
Yeah. We were just like, okay, because I'm used to reading what they had to say about us and what we got to say about y'all, and it was just like, why would we want to do that? But okay, so we told them that, and it was just like, okay, now just like this is, and I'm like, wow, really? Okay, and why would you want to read your own sign? You're supposed to read ours, and we read yours, but okay, and it just went downhill from there.
Oh no,
yeah. Nothing happened. It was just like it just wasn't our good game. Now, in most sports, you have that one game where it's like, what in the world happened here? And
you can't make it meld. Yeah.
And it was also their senior night, and we were just like, why would you have senior night the second district game? We were just like, okay. And I know Cole Thompson, he was just like, his old grumpy self, like. And I'm like,
such a good
yeah. And also, there were just rumors running around. Like one of the referees, his son was on the team for Duncanville. And we were like, but back then you didn't really have like now, like because there's paperwork then, but now everything's electronic. Like, okay, but that was just a rumor. I'm like, well, hey, it is what it is. Like, I mean, can't do nothing about it. So
right.
But I'll learn, just be very classy and just be most respectful, and that's what I did. When I was running the flag, kind of be like like Captain America and Bret Hart in a way, because he was outstanding, and that was one I didn't have anybody to look up to when I was running the flag, and that was like those are 2 characters I kind of look up to, because in WWF, Bret Hart, he was just like the best there is, the best there was, and the best there will be. So I liked him. So he was just awesome. And then that's when at that game, Miss Heisig, who was a senior sponsor, she's also the cheerleading sponsor as well. And she just asked me some questions. I was a little nervous. I was nervous, just knowing more people. And okay, she asked me this and that, and we were like I'll let me introduce you at one of the pep rallies. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was a Beat North pep rally, and we talked and discussed, and I told her, can we play this music right here? And it was no music, and it was a Bret Hart's theme song, and it was just awesome, and it was just like so electrifying. But that's the Booster Club, the Booster Club president Ruben Biaba. He was the one who was in charge of the flag carrier, and he entrusted me with it. Because what's his name? Tony Canales of Class '96. His mom made that flag.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So did you have the same one the whole time?
I had the same one for all those years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know what happened to that flag. When he passed away a few years ago, I was looking for it and we never found it. But
that would have been a good thing to donate to the historical organization.
Oh yeah.
Have you been to that museum?
No, I have not.
Oh,
no.
You should totally go over there. They have a whole north-south side.
Okay, I heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool. That would have been a great thing to add over there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's.
I probably would have kept it myself because that was like
it was your thing.
Yeah. It was pretty much mine.
It was.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this just goes to show like everybody can find that thing that they love to do.
Yeah.
And you know what? That was created basically for you to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like it was like Clark Kent and Superman. During the day it was like the nerdy, quiet side guy, but then then at nighttime it was like a totally different person. Yeah, and
you always did it with such passion. Like I know it sounds silly, but it's like just watching you run. I mean, you did it with passion. You could tell you really loved that team. Every year you loved that team.
Oh yeah.
You're definitely not a fair weather South Grand Prairie High School fan.
I mean, I do my best to be there for the kids, and now, I mean, at one point I was like the bigger brother, but I'm like, okay, how many guys have a 13-year-old brother that's older? I mean, like 13 years apart, big brother. I'm like, now I'm getting older.
Wow.
I'm more like the uncle type now. And then I said, when I probably get in my 50s, I'll probably be like the godfather type. Yeah.
It is kind of weird that we're in our mid 40s now.
Yeah. I'm like, wow, where did time go? And I kind of look back at times and I'm like, wow, that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. So what are you doing now?
I'm in the athletic department for the district, and they just keep me busy, because we're always short-handed here and there. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm there. I'm not gonna go anywhere. So not until like summertime. Then I'm like, okay, see y'all in August, and then we'll convene.
Yeah.
And every now and then also back up during summer to see how the kids are doing and see and. I'm like, yeah, okay. And they're like, oh my gosh, we haven't seen you in forever. Well, yeah, I mean, I've seen y'all, but let's take a break. Yeah. I mean, you got your good kids and you got your staying out of trouble, and that's all I ask for the kids, to stay out of trouble, pay attention, and you can have all the fun you want, but make sure you have your grades are up and
work hard, play hard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I gave out a little speech on Grand Prairie, Texas Talk at the beginning of the school year. Make sure hey. There's going to be things that you don't want to do, but you got to do it. And like you want to pass. I mean, you want to play, right? You better pass, right? And it's just that simple, right? Just find a way. And, if you're practicing at, in the afternoon, make sure, do something, like talk to the teacher, see that, where you're having problems at, and see if you can go in the morning time and help out, or depending on your schedule, with your athletic class or whatever. And stay out of trouble. And because 9 times out of 10, the teachers see that you're trying, they'll help you out and give you extra points. Like, okay, I see. Yeah. Do your thing. Yeah.
Do you think, you've seen a lot of kids over the years. You've seen a lot of talented kids.
Yeah.
Have you seen kids that will work so hard that they overcome maybe where the talent is? Like, where do you think that it's in them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If I see a kid, I'd see that he's like just great, and I'm like, he's going places. I know. There's like, I remember Jeffrey Kuda, who now plays for the Houston Texans. He was just, at first he was like, you're wearing me out, but then he got better and better. And then when you saw me talk to one of my favorite colleges, Florida State, he changed his attitude, and he just became a great young man. I was just very, very proud of him. And we had some good athletes who played Division I, and some of them who went on to NFL, like Malcolm Williams in class of 06. I
did not know that.
Oh yeah, Malcolm. He had some difficulties, but he worked hard, and he was just a great athlete and extremely talented. And all his friends in his class, I will say this, the class of 06 was pretty much one of my favorite classes because I didn't ask much, but they did it. They went 110%. I'm like,
really?
Oh, yeah. I'm like, okay.
Like as a group?
I mean, if I asked them to do something, just you move that way, move that trash can. They were like, where you want me to move it to, and I can put it over here. I'm like, I just need it over here. Okay, and they just went above and beyond. They were just a great class, and I cut up with them just a little bit, but not too much. But it was just like because one of the kids who's now one of our coaches, Coach Deron Ponchino. Oh yeah. We were talking, and then one of the kids, just asked him, how tall are you? And then he goes, he's 6 foot. And the trainer goes, well, no, you're not. Well, then, you're not, you're not a blonde. And, it's just like, and I just fell out. I'm like, wow, this is really happening. Like, because he was a smart mouth kid, but you understood. I understood where he was coming from. Like, how you going to tell me what I'm not?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So it was just like, okay. But, he was a great kid. I'm glad he's on our staff now in the athletic for football, and he's also our first African American track coach for South.
Wow, that is so interesting. Yeah. How many alumni are actually like coaches now? Because we have the Yalda.
Yeah, Coach Yalda. He's our head baseball coach. I think this is his 3rd year. He's doing a good job. Very proud of him. He's just doing this thing, and he's just that was like that's his dream job right there, just to be the head coach at South Prairie. That's
amazing.
If he ever needed something, he would ask me on the alumni page. Go ahead. Just let me know, and I'll get it for you. And we just it was weird because me and him, we also went to Truman and on up.
Did he graduate with you?
No, he graduated in 2000 with
my sisters.
Yeah, with your sisters, yeah, and also Coach Mendez, who's class of '98. He graduated with you. He's the assistant baseball coach.
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, and let's see who else now, because I had the discussion like a few weeks ago, like who's all from South. Mark Phillips, he's class of '95, I believe. He's one of our swim coaches. Heidi Miller, she's the class of '91.
Wow.
Yeah. She's the dive. I think she's the dive coach also, but she's been there for a while. She got there in 1998, and me and her known each other since we worked together.
She's been there since 1998.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
To be a coach. That's great.
Oh yeah, but she did take some time off, but now she's back into it. Me and her, we met at the Prairie Relays, one of our track meets that we do, that GBIZ hosts. And it was just, and she's like, I can't believe I'm still doing this. Like, yeah, you're back. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's the Prairie Relays that year. Yeah. And it's like.
So how many times has the football team ever been to state?
No, we have never been to state. No, but we, the class 2000 was the closest, team that's ever gone, been that deep in the playoffs.
Were we one game away?
Yeah, we were
I feel like I remember that.
Yeah,
now.
we were one game away, and like I said, the referee just moved the ball up more than what should have been, and we would have gone to state at the Astrodome back then, and I'm not sure who would have played, but I think we would have won state. But what irked me the most is I remember on Channel 4 News, some elderly gentleman said, we got the best kids in the state from Garland, and I'm just like, really? Because that whole week I had no idea who those kids were, and everybody was talking about South Prairie at the time, and I'm like, I don't know who those kids are, but you don't have the kids, you don't have the best kids in the state. I'm not bitter, but it's just like, yeah. There were some games where I was like, I think the class of 2000 they were playing Louisville, and that was like the first district game, and that was going to be for the district championship. And I just knew, that was going to be the big game. And I remember I saw R.C. Slocum, who was the head coach at Texas A&M. He was there. I'm like, okay. And I really wanted to get a picture with him, but I was like too nervous. And I was just like, he's up here, and I'm like, he probably would say no. I didn't, but he probably would have said yes. But I just did, I was like nervous.
You don't have any problem asking for pictures now.
Well,
if you follow JV on Facebook, like there are times that I'm like, oh my gosh, there's JV with like a celebrity, like serious celebrities. Yeah. How do you end up in these situations?
Well, they just come down and
who was it recently? What's the most recent one you posted? I want to say it was something like people from Saved by the Bell or some kind of TV show. Yeah. Oh, Boy Meets World.
Yes,
was that what it was? Okay.
It was the cast of Boy Meets World. I used to watch that show when it was on.
Sure.
And I still watch it now on Freeform at night, late night.
I'm embarrassed to say that I would listen to an entire documentary on Boy Meets World.
Oh,
like last year, they did a whole big thing on YouTube about all the episodes and like all the. It was really interesting. I mean, I watched it.
Oh yeah,
obviously,
I watched it, but but of course, it was like came on Friday nights, TGIF,
of course,
like, I'm at football.
Right.
Yeah, or I'm like, well, I had to watch it. Had to watch the reruns because we didn't have DVRs. Back then where where you record it and then you're all good. Now we had VCRs. You have to be exact. Manually try to remember. Like,
or have the fancy ones that programmed.
Yeah.
And then hope that it just did it.
Yes, yeah. If not, then you have like a VHS tape that has something else that you did not want.
That's right.
Like, what is this?
I'm doing an estate sale, and they threw away like 75 of those. He recorded every single movie, everything, and then he labeled it, and they were like, nobody's going to buy these. So, but it's interesting because like you would have commercials and all these things from back then.
Yeah, you could, you could. I mean, you had to do it manually, but now, I mean, you can do it too, now, but it's like, well, I just
fast forward, right?
And I'm like, I'm like, wow. But I remember, let's see, our fourth head coach at the time, back then, he got rid of all the old football tapes, and and I'm like, and didn't know about it, and then Doc, our trainer, he was telling me about it. Like, oh wow, and
Doc,
our head trainer. Hopefully, one day we'll put him in the Hall of Fame of South Prairie Athletics because he's.
Do we have a Hall of Fame?
No, I mean I say it, but I'm like, I'd like to get that started one time.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, just put all these teachers and some of the athletic people who are there, and I would like to do that, something like that. That would, just give them recognition and all their hard work.
Well, I will tell you, maybe you can help me with this because I would love to on this show have a whole sports where it's just talking about Grand Prairie sports.
Oh yeah,
I mean we have so many.
Oh yeah, there's so much history. I remember I talked with your dad. A few years ago, where when GPIC decided to build another high school, some of the old gentlemen back then, say like, well, I'm gonna go to the other high school, and they got it, and someone went.
Oh yeah, when they built South.
Yeah, and I remember there was like some animosity. I'm like, okay, and like, and in the first crosstown ever meeting, South won that one. Well, and then that's when the rivalry again. I think it was 1974 when they first started. But South was built, opened up in 1969. But me people had to understand, GP was probably like a 4A, and then South was like 2 or 3 at the time. But then when they got the numbers up, and then that's when they played each other right there.
And they had just gone through Dalworth. Was a school also at the time. There was a Dalworth Dragons, and they had a lot. That's the year that Dr. Alexander, they graduated during the 60s.
Yes.
And a lot of them became like NFL or professional sports players.
Yes, yeah.
But they had just integrated the schools.
Yes.
And so they were a very good team.
Oh yeah.
And so then you open up this other school, and it's like, I don't want to leave here. Like, we've been playing sports together. And so I remember my dad, I guess would have been a freshman because he graduated in 71. So he would have been a freshman in 68.
Okay.
So like him and both my mom, they were like, you have the option.
Yeah.
And they chose to stay at Grand Prairie. But his sister chose to go to South.
Oh, wow.
Because I don't think that she had been there yet. Like, she was going to just decide to go to South, and I think she's on the drill team.
Okay.
And so, but yeah, it's like you're leaving all your friends to go over to a new school.
Right. Yeah. And I'm just like, wow. And I mean, just me learning from all the older generation. Like, okay, and because you don't get this, from a textbook or anything. You get it from, from real life experience from other people.
That's right.
And I remember talking with Gary Bartell, who's a former athletic director and former Grand Prairie Gopher coach. It was just one of those weird things, like, a Gopher and a Warrior talking about the old days. And we talked about that, about maybe.
Show idea. We need to have him on, and we can all be on there. That would be such a good, listening to some of the stories.
Oh yeah, I mean, we talked, and he was just telling me about how it was, back in the '60s when he was growing up. Like, oh wow, and we were just sitting there, at the Warrior Bowl. Yes, I said Warrior Bowl again. Yeah, and I'm just like, I'm like, wow, and we actually could talk. And the previous coach, it was just like, it was Jerry Bomar, and like my, not saying hated rival, but he was a good coach, but it was just like. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because he just made the rivalry so much, more intense. The rivalry was intense. And I'm like, okay, but I hear from other people like during the '80s, it was like, like the Warriors and Gophers, just like they did not like each other.
No, and they did some crazy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, compared to what's now, like that was, hardcore.
Next level.
This is right here, like like a teddy bear. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's like when I talked to, I'm gonna throw him under the bus, Jeff Copeland, because he when I interviewed him, I said, because he was in the 80s and he's on the football team.
Yeah.
And I said, what kind of stuff would y'all do? And he's like, I'm not even sure that I can tell you now because I don't know if the statutes of limitations. He was kind of kidding, but it was like some of the pranks that they pulled on each other were pretty serious.
Well, I remember, because like I said, my sophomore year, I was so new to the whole football world. And I'm like, okay. And then I remember, going to school, on Beat North Week. I remember I saw some of the signs that were painted with GP on it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, wow. Oh, okay. And, like the stop signs had GP on it. Go slow, no parking. And they're all, with blue, with the blue spray paint. Okay. And then I remember,
wow.
Yeah. I remember, I think in 2005 or 2004, GP, they came over the South and super glued all the doors. Yes. And that was,
what do you mean?
They super glued,
like inside of the school?
Like, no, like the entrances.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was just like, I give the props for that one. That was a smart idea.
But see, we had television shows that would show those kinds of things. Like Saved by the Bell always showed episodes where they were like the rival football team where they were doing pranks.
It was the prank war. I remember that from it was Saved by the Bell. It was a class of Bayside versus
with the Bulldogs.
I forgot. Valley. Yeah, it was Valley.
Valley. Yes. Yeah. So it was just kind of part of our culture to do those kinds of things.
Oh yeah.
Even though super gluing the doors together is pretty bad.
It was pretty bad, but it was just like, wow. I mean, for them, I'm like, because they won like the last 2 years, but then finally like the third year, Coach Bomar's last year at Prairie High, it was like, wow. And we went out with a bang, and we got the revenge, right there. Like, yeah, I'm like, wow, okay, well, I'm like, because when I was told about it, I was like, wow, they super glued the doors.
That's bad.
And I was just like, the coaches at the time were like, I was just like, what? Really? Oh, wow, that's that was like mind-boggling. But like, okay,
that's bad.
I mean, it was genius, but it just like really, really,
yeah, right.
But for them, like, yeah, okay, that was pretty good. That's pretty good.
Well,
don't do this, y'all. Don't do that. All right.
We have a few more minutes. Yeah. This is a short episode because we got started late and there's somebody behind us. But I'm telling you right now, I think that we need to call Gary because he's friends with my dad.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, would you come back and talk about some of that stuff?
Oh, yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to ask you about, and I back in 2019, I think it was, is when we started the SGP Alumni group. And we kind of started it and then it just phased out. And you took over that Facebook page.
Yeah.
But it's something that I want to support.
Okay.
Because we don't, like, the whole vision of that was to get people together and donate and do things and all those things. And it just never.
Yeah. I've tried a few times here and there, but, it's just like kind of falling short. And I'm like, hey, we'll do a get together. All you have to do is just show up. And and no charge. And I mean, just show up and have a good time. And, we'll have a good old time. And it was pretty cool because I met some people from the class from the early 70s. And, and I was learning from them, and they're like, he's that guy that does this. I'm like, yeah, that's me. And they look like, they asked me like, you didn't graduate? No, I did not. No, I was far not even thought of, but it was good, just hang out with them and learn from them. And I've been to like the 70s reunion that they had like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and that over at Joe Pool Lake. At the Oasis, and that was, like, okay, I'm having a good time, and it was always a good time because it came around the time when OU and Texas would play.
Oh yeah,
and then I think Texas won both those years, and it was just even better right there. Yeah.
Well, so people that have graduated from South, they can follow that Facebook group. Yeah. You post things all the time.
I try,
and you do a really good job about
it. Thank you. I try.
You do a good job. But I'm sad that we don't have more time. I want to invite you back because I really like to talk more about that. I think it's just so important. Like, school pride is a big deal. And it's like, I mean, you can see it when you talk to certain groups.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, we definitely want to keep that alive. Oh, yeah. And I think a Grand Prairie Hall of Fame is a great idea.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of people that have graduated.
Yeah, who became very successful, and I'm just like, like I gave a hard time to one of our security personnel, Gideon Leonard, who was class 2000. I gave him, I'll tell him, hey, one of these days you're gonna be in the future Hall of Fame of South Carolina Prairie football. And
I ran into him the other day. Not the other day. It was at a game that we were at. Yeah.
And I give him a hard time, like, no, I won't. You are, come on now. And that whole bunch, that whole class right there. I one of these days I had to find an old newspaper clipping and so everyone, hey, this was the class at Silicon State, and it's like had all these D1 athletes right here, and we were just
Ashley Robinson. Didn't she play for the WNBA?
Yes, she did. And interesting fact, she won the WNBA the same year that Remy Aldeli, who's a class of 2002, they both won the big game the same year. Yeah, he was playing for the Saints at the time, and they won their game, and then like a few months later, she wins, her championship. I'm like,
wow, that is incredible.
We have two athletes who won the big game in the same year, and not many people or high school can say that. So
that's very true.
Yeah. And that was just like, wow, that's really good. And I'll talk with her for a few times. I went to her reunion, her 20th reunion, and she's still as tall as ever, and
she's and beautiful as ever.
Yeah, and awesome too. And she just recently.
I feel like she just had a new baby.
Yes, she did. Yeah,
recently.
Yes, she did.
Maybe not recently. Yeah, maybe last couple of years, probably. I think.
Well, like a few months ago, she had.
Was it just that month? Okay. Yeah.
And a beautiful little baby boy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and I'm like, yep. She's gonna probably put them in basketball too. And, yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
Oh yeah, it's been a pleasure. So, I'm glad you asked me to do this. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I really do think that if you're willing, like, I would love to have you back on to talk about some, because there's like, those are all such interesting things.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important to understand, like, this is part of our history. We have a lot of people that have done really great things. When I interviewed Jennifer McFalls, she was great. So that's one of my most listened to podcasts.
Oh, really?
Because she went to the Olympics and she played, softball, and the story of how they got there is really interesting. So, yeah, but it's. I think a lot of people would love to hear those stories. Oh, yeah. So, well, thank you.
Oh, yeah, no
Appreciate
problem. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.